Okay, I am back and yet again for another Pokebilities team, not review, fuck, Pokebilities team showcase. Now, of course, you see the team here, and from the title, you can see that pretty obviously it's a Kleavor and Serperior Hyperoffense team. Now, instead of just building this team around the idea of Hyperoffense, I decided just to build it around a singular Pokemon, being Serperior, because the last one I did for the team showcase, I made that more of like an idea that it's centered around, not a single Pokemon. So, Serperior, one of the returning Pokemon for the Indigo Disc, and one of the best ones that's returning at that. Now, yes, Serperior did lose some things, like it says that it got aromatherapy in prior gens, but I've looked up on Pokemon Database, on Cerebi, on Bulbapedia, and it never says that it learned it, so it may have just been something wrong with Showdown, but unfortunately, Serperior did lose Defog, which is really nice for hazard removal, but oh well, can't always have everything. But as you can see, I tried to center the team around Serperior, and one of the first things I noticed is Glare is one of its best moves, especially now that it's 100% accurate and 48 PP, meaning you can use it a ton. So I was like, okay, that's a good place to start. Maybe now I need to put some lower speed but still really powerful mons that really benefit from paralysis. So that is where I came up for the idea of more of a Hyperoffense team that's not based on sticky webs. And from that, I decided to go my next Pokemon, or actually, let me explain the moveset first. I don't know why I do this, I apologize. Autism Ringo Burr is the best way I can describe it. But anyway, Leaf Storm is the obvious thing. Terra Blast, there were a few other things that this could have been. I could have made it Dragon Pulse, I could have made it Leech Seed, could have made it Knockoff, Taunt. But at the end of the day, Serperior is going to be one of my biggest win cons out of the entire team because it's one of the few things that actually has the ability to set up, which is why I decided to make it Stellar Terra, because Stellar Terra gives it an option to hit every single Pokemon neutrally, which means unless it's something like a Clodsire, there's not too great a chance that it, or maybe a Clefable, there's not a good chance that it will be able to wall you. And if they've already used their Terra, and it's like a Clefable or a Clodsire, then Terra Blast becomes super effective while still raising, and all the stat raise doesn't matter. You can eventually get yourself into Overgrow if you use Substitute enough, which can make Leaf Storm even scarier. Now, of course, there's the option for Terra Grass, just make it scare. Ugh. Of course, there is the option for Terra Blast, just make it increasingly powerful, even on top of that, but I do think that that's a bit overkill. And the ability to hit everything neutrally with Terra Blast is great and much more helpful, because even if you don't Stellar Terra on Serperior and you use your Terra on something else, you still get the ability to hit a lot of things that you wouldn't otherwise neutrally, and Steel types are really the only big thing you gotta worry about. Now, Substitute, honestly, I feel that that is one of the more obvious ones. Like I said earlier, there was a lot of clear choices. Like Subseed was my first idea for a set. Then I thought Glare would probably be better than Leech Seed on this. But yeah, it's just overall one of the better things that Serperior can do. It lets you get easier setup opportunities, eases prediction on you. It does a lot more for Serperior than it does for some other Pokemon, and just gives you much better positioning overall. As for Glare, like I said earlier, the ability to spam Paralysis so easy and not be stopped by ground types when doing so is huge. So, the next mon I put on the team, Skarmory. Okay, now you can probably see where this is going. I had my first setup mon that I wanted to build the team around mostly, and I didn't get to the second part of the name until a bit later, so let's just go by what it is right now. Skarmory, as of now. Oh, wait. Let's just ignore that. I originally had Brave Bird instead of Steel Beam on the set, which is why I had the EVs the way they were, but just had to change them on camera real quick. Anyway, of course you can see Skarmory. It's going to be the classic Suicide Lead for Hyperoffense teams. Spike, Stealth Rock, set up both hazards, Taunt to prevent other taunts or opposing setup, and then Steel Beam, take out half of your own HP and make it easier to die because Skarmory's bulk. Even with hasty nature to lower your own defense and 0 IVs in all of its defensive stats, sometimes you just won't die, and you gotta try to have a way around that. But it also, of course, Custat Berry, so I can move first after getting into 30 or just under 25% in general, and Terra Ghost to prevent any rapid spinners. But speaking of preventing rapid spinners, Goldango is my next Pokemon. Now, I was trying to decide whether I wanted it like Terra, what's it called? I was trying to decide whether I wanted like Terra Flying with Covert Cloak, Terra Fairy, Terra Fighting with Focus Blast. At the end of the day, though, I did decide to go Air Balloon because it gives some more versatility, and Terra Fairy instead of Terra Fighting because while nothing other than Hisuian Zoroark resist the combination of Shadow Ball and Focus Blast, there's not a lot that resists Shadow Ball and Dazzling Gleam either, especially after a nasty plot. And with my Goldango specifically having more defense investment instead of just being purely geared to offense, that is a huge assistance. And the main reason why this is my one mon that's geared more towards defense is because it's the mon that's meant to take a hit, try to set up, and use as a win con, and simultaneously also block any defog, mortal spin, rapid spin, anything other than court change and tidy up. So it becomes much easier to maintain the goal of the team when you have a Goldango because it's able to stop so many forms of hazard removal. Speaking of hazard removal, Booster Energy Tusk. Of course, you have the classic combination, Headlong Rush, Ice Spinner Knockoff. If you want, you can replace one of Ice Spinner or Knockoff with Bulk Up to give you another setup option. But personally, I really like this set. You give the automatic boost to your attack and rapid spin boost to your own speed. You have the strong 120 base power stab option off of 131 base attack. Ice and ground is a very little resisted combination. It's like anything that's steel type and levitate or Rotom Wash, which nothing that falls into those categories likes taking a knockoff and getting its item removed. So that really helps with that. But yeah, I don't really feel there's much to say with Great Tusk. Steel Terra obviously to help it be able to like take a hit in certain scenarios, get more hits off with just having more opportunities to switch in if I've already switched it out and used its Terra, gives it more resistance, is just overall one of the best Terra types it can have, much like how Fairy is one of the best Terra types Goldango can have, or Water is another amazing Terra type for both of them. But anyway, on to my next mon, Kleavor. Now, you may be thinking, why Kleavor specifically? Because doesn't Skarmory have Stealth Rock? Well, you see, Kleavor doesn't set rocks with Stone Axe and Pokebilities. Now, I know that may seem weird. That's its entire gimmick. That's the only reason to use it, right? Because it's not great overall other than that. Well, you see, in its abilities, of course it has Sharpness, but with 65 base power Stone Axe. However, something that was found in the Showdown coding is that Sheer Force also boosts Stone Axe. So I'm going to pull up the calculator real quick and just do that math because I don't remember. I think it's like 126 base power rounded down, but let's do the math just in case. 65 for the base power of Stone Axe times 1.3 for the sheer force boost is 84.5. Okay, now if we round that down to 84 and we do multiplied by 1.5, we get exactly 126. Okay, so yeah, that is what it would be rounded down, which, if you keep that in mind, that is a stronger move than Stone Edge by an entire 26 base power, and it is 10% more accurate. Of course, you got the classic X Scissor boosted by Sharpness for 120 base power. You have Close Combat, just an overall really powerful move, hard to switch into, especially in tandem with Stone Axe. And then U-turn for nice cover, or not coverage, for nice momentum, able to get in and out of situations. Terrifying in order to boost the close combat. And I decided to run Choice Scarf over something like Choice Band, because if Serperior isn't able to get the glare on a lot of things, it is nice to have him on other than my final mon on the team to be able to outspeed everything in certain situations if it doesn't get knocked. Now, of course, if you want to change up the team, there are definitely other items that Kleavor can run. The biggest ones being Choice Band, Heavy Duty Boots, and Assault Vest. Let's see. And for my other members on the team, of course, Serperior leftovers, and there's not much else Serperior can run, though. I guess maybe Boots is probably Serperior's second best option, because it doesn't really have much capability to run Vest anymore. Tusk can... Whoops, did not mean to put Slack. Tusk on Hyperoffense can probably run Boot, and on HO, Boots probably isn't even worth it. I'd say probably just the booster. Yeah, I wouldn't really suggest anything else, unless maybe Assault Vest, but even then it's iffy. Goldingo can be like Choice Scarf Trick if you want. It can be Heavy Duty Boots because it actually will be switching in a lot of times. I would not suggest Assault Vest because you want Recover or you want to be choiced, one of the two. But there is some item flexibility, just not a lot for the mons other than Kleavor. However, the final mon is definitely what makes a team all stick together. Even if everything gets its item removed somehow, this is going to be what outspeeds most things. It's going to be the cleaner of the team, and just going to go to right now, Dragapult. Because everyone knows how great this mon is. 142 base speed is absolutely insane. Other than Deoxys speed, fastest unboosted mon in the meta. And yeah, now that there are boosted mons like Iron Boulder, as well as the unboosted Deoxys speed that outspeed it, Dragapult is, it may be slightly worse, but it's still amazing despite that. Even though there are more things that outspeed it now, just the ability to have that kind of speed, even if it's now outclassed sometimes, is amazing in tandem with everything else it has. Because, well, Choice Specs is probably the most common set, especially in Pokebilities. It can do a lot. Hyperoffense lead with screens, Curse, Dragon Darts. It can spread Para and Burn with Thunderwave and Will-O-Wisp, set up Substitute. It can spam Hex. It can set it physically with Dragon Dance. It can PP stall with like Protect, Phantom Force, and Substitute. But overall, in my opinion, the best set is still Specs. And I wouldn't tear Ghost on it to boost the Shadow Ball power because it's already scary enough having that immediate power, but when it's boosted even further by 50% specifically, when you Terra on top of the stab boost, it just makes Shadow Ball an absolutely terrifying move with how little is able to resist it. Flamethrower, I went for coverage on generally bulky steel types like Goldingo doesn't really count because it is a ghost type, but things like Excadrill or, oh my god, the fucking ads. My phone has a virus, sorry about that. But for things like Excadrill or King Gambit, mostly King Gambit, that's the big reason. Any Serp that has the ability to take Shadow Ball or Draco Meteor. But overall, Surf or Thunderbolts are probably better, but Flamethrower I just really like having in case I do end up running into a King Gambit. But either way, if not that, it's just still good coverage at the end of the day. And U-Turn, obviously, just momentum. Having two U-Turn Mons, like, yeah, it's used very commonly, but there's a good reason. It's a good-ass move. You get momentum on your opponent if they switch out, or if they move first. So, basic set, but it's basic for a reason. It works consistently. So, if you need another rundown of the team, here you go. If you want the Pokepaste, I will put it in the description of this video. Here you can see, just in case you need it when watching the video. But yeah, that's how it is right now. And, oh shit. Never mind, I forgot some stuff. Need to put the last 4 EVs somewhere, or I don't need the last 4 of Skarmory. But I know there was one other one that I forgot it with. Oh, was there not? Oh, now I remember what I forgot. Ugh, sorry. Autism brain go burr, as I said earlier. My Asperger's syndrome, just, I cannot focus on so many things at once. Even 2 can be too much at times. But yeah. Now copy this link instead, but here's the final team after all the modifications I've had done. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry about my rambling when I don't need to. It's something I'm trying to get better at, but hope you enjoyed. See you in the next video. Don't know when that's going to be, though. I'm out.